Hello and welcome to the Wheel of Crime podcast. This podcast is ran by two ladies who play games, mumble profanities, and laugh way too often. Also, this podcast does cover topics of sensitive nature, and as such, listener discretion is advised.
Hello, and welcome back to a brand new season of Wheel of Crime, the podcast.
Yes, very exciting. We're glad to be back. It's been a busy month, actually. Much busier than I thought it was going to be.
Literally, we were talking about taking a hiatus so that we could kind of like reset and get our brand new cover art out, which hopefully you've all seen by now, and all that shit. And I was like, I feel like we'll have time to like pre-record a couple episodes and, whatever. Literally, no. Literally, like, recording this like a couple of days before it's supposed to go up in a panic. I'm tired. Emily's tired.
Exhausted.
We're both not vibing.
No, zero vibes to be had. It's just, like Jen said, very hectic. Glad to be back, but yeah, no, much busier than I thought, and honestly, looking the rest of summer, it's only going to get busier, but also kind of looking forward to it. It's been a nice change since these pandemic years, which meant there was a whole lot of nothing going around. So, that is
Truly.
a nice change, but I'm just trying to think about, like, what I've been up to, but other than the Vegas trip, which, for our listeners, it was different. It was fun. I got very sick, though, with a chest cold when I came back. Whoo, boy. That was basically it. I feel like that's pretty much it.
Fair. Yeah, it was, what did I do? Oh yeah, I went to BC, so I went on a trip as well.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know what I did over the hiatus.
I was literally about to say, I know you went to BC because you came back not that long ago, so there's one thing.
It's true.
And then lots of work.
For anyone who knows the band Haim, I went and saw them in Vancouver. We got front row. It was awesome.
That's actually really, really amazing. I was actually just thinking about when you went to go see Haim, because I'm supposed to be going to a concert in August, and I want to be able to score us like front row position, but I'm so like new to the concert experience, I don't even know what to do.
Get there early, and is it like what kind of it's like an outdoor thing, right?
Well, it's in a stadium, so they have like general floor, which brings you right up to the stage, and then they have like the rest of the seats are kind of like around the stadium.
Oh, okay, so it's a regular like stadium concert. So are you on the floor?
Yeah, we're on the floor. And I looked it up online, but like a bunch of people were saying that because it's a 7 p.m. show, we're supposed to get there and at 9 a.m.
What?
Literally everything I looked at that online about like the band that I'm seeing, so I'm going to go see Greta Van Fleet. Everything I looked at, from like Reddit posts to like what people were recommending from previous concerts, they're like, yeah, it gets like crazy busy by like 10 a.m. if you're going to a 7 p.m. concert. So you're going to want to be there at like 9 a.m. if you want to guarantee front row. And I was like, I don't know if waiting for like over 10, or no, it wouldn't be over 10 hours. No, it'd be around 10 hours. I don't know if waiting for 10 hours is really like the vibe. So, like, I was like, I need to talk to Jenny about this. This does not sound right.
I mean, I feel like Haim's a pretty big band, and so the doors opened, I want to say at like 7 or something like that. We got there at 6. There was people already lined up, but usually when you go to like a stadium tour, you can get like beverages or like snacks, and then there's also like merch that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get like a good spot on the floor, literally bypass all that shit and start booking it towards the fucking, because like really, like once you get through security, it's about who gets down to the floor the fastest, about who gets the best seats. So like,
see, that's kind of what I thought too. And then like as far as like merch and stuff goes, because I'll be going with my sister, and I know that she's interested in kind of those things, I was like, I'm pretty sure that stuff's still available to go and look at afterwards.
It is. Sometimes it's sold out. Like, we went to go get merch after, and they had a shirt in my size but not my partner's size left, because they were all sold out of his size. But So it's kind of like a bit of a gamble that way, but like I guess pick what's more important. If getting merch is like a must, then maybe it's worth it. But if you want to get like really close, then you're probably going to want to skip that at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm glad you brought that up, though, because I've been meaning to ask you about that, and I totally forgot. But yeah, no, that is good to know, though. And then, what else did you went to Heim, because I saw the pictures. But, like, what else did you do in BC?
Well, when we were in Vancouver, we went and looked at our wedding venue options. So we saw, like, a couple, and I'm actually really glad that we went and saw them all in person, because some of the ones that, like, I had thought, I was like, these are, like, amazing and I love this. Like, one of them specifically, I was like, oh, this actually is, like, not as great as I thought it was. Like, it's in, like, the way that they, like, make it look in the photos is, like, it's on the ocean. But really, it's, like, nowhere near the ocean. And it's, like, in a dirty brown bay in, like, not Vancouver, it's in Richmond, which I didn't originally realize. So, like, I am glad that we saw it in person, because I was like, oh, it's an absolute no. Like, it's a no. Because it's like, it was like 2 blocks away from the airport.
Oh, no. Okay.
And so I'm like, that would be so annoying all night. Like, hearing planes going, like, literally, like, they were so loud.
Literally everything you've said about this place from the beginning to the end, I'm like, no thank you. Especially because before you said bay, I thought you were going to say that this place was in a brown bag, and I was like, oh god.
No, I get that it's like, we went in spring, so it's like the spring runoff, but like it just was not the vibe that I was aiming for. So I'm really, really glad that we like went, because my like first choice, which, you guys can find out in 2023. But my first choice, we like walked in, I was like, this is like everything I want,
the place you sent me pictures about, right?
Yes, that's the place we booked, and now we're trying to figure out the rest of the logistics, and honestly it's giving me anxiety, and I'm like, I don't want to plan this at all anymore. This is stressful.
Well, thank God it's at least next year and not trying to figure it out for like this year or something, hey?
Oh god, I couldn't. I'm just like, I'm tired of it. I'm like, we'll book the necessary stuff right now, and I'm not even going to think about the rest of the stuff for a while, because I don't want to think about it.
Well, that's the nice part. You don't have to. You don't have to think about it.
Exactly. I mean, aside from the drama that always seems to come with weddings.
Of course. Well, even look at mine. I had like, exactly 20 people there, because that's how many I was allowed to have during COVID. And it was at my now husband's parents' house, and we still had drama.
I don't even know how that's even possible.
It do be like that.
People,
it do be like
I
that.
feel like people, like, you say wedding, and people just go fucking crazy.
They go feral.
Like a whole nother personality comes out, and you're like, whoa, I'm just trying to have a nice event to, like, join in partnership with this fucking man of all people.
This one man that everybody already knows about. That's it.
Like, this one man I've already been with for like 9 years. So like, Why is this so hard? Like, literally, why?
I wish. I was meaning to ask you this earlier, but has anybody kind of like self-invited themselves as a bridesmaid yet? Because I had that happen to me when I first announced that I was engaged by like a few people, and I was like,
I've had a couple people ask, like, not like invite themselves, but like ask, and it's hard because we want a small wedding, and our venue only like has a very limited amount of people that we can like physically have in the space. So like it has to be small. So like there's just people who like, maybe if you're having like a 300-person wedding would be on the list, but since it's down to like 70, like they're just like nowhere. They're on like tier 5. We're on tier 3 and they're on tier 5.
Okay, I love that, and I also completely understand. That's so funny.
Like,
But
I'm
yeah.
sorry, but I have tiers to my wedding, and if you're annoying, you're on tier 2 or 3. You're not on tier 1.
See, with like how I had to decide mine, it was like if you're annoying, you're just cut. There are no tiers. If you're not making it in the top 20, you're out of here.
You're out of here. Thankfully, we could have more than 20. I think my dad would have an actual aneurysm if we could only have 20, because I told him, like, we can have 50 in the ceremony space and 70 at the reception, and he was like, they can't have more? Can we have more? Can we fit more? I'm like, that is like physically the capacity of the building. There is no space for more people.
It's like, Father, do you want people to stand on each other's heads? Like, where is the logic coming in?
Like, there's been talks of an outdoor screening area, and listen, this is why I'm fed up with this whole process, and I just started.
Whoa, let's tone it back here for a minute. And what, are we gonna be live streaming your wedding to an outdoor audience?
Literally, there's been talk of, like, because there's only 50 people allowed in the ceremony space, of setting up a screen and live streaming it outside. And my parents are like, whoever gets in, gets in. It's first come, first serve. If you're not in there, you're outside in the live stream.
It's just me stuck outside because I'm the 51st person in the show.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So
just my hand on the window. Jenny, I'm sorry. I love you.
You're fucking stuck
I will be
outside,
there
bitch. Sorry, there's not enough room for you. You know, cousin Karen, she's before you.
She was there like she treated it like it was apparently a Greta Van Fleet concert. She was there 10 hours early. She's like, I'm getting
6
front row.
Yeah, she was there 6 a.m. She's like, I'm getting the best seat in the goddamn house. I'm standing next to the bride.
John can be like somewhere else. I'm getting to sit next to the bride.
John's outside with you.
Both of us are just like, well, I don't know what happens now. The officiant has to FaceTime him.
Yeah, I'm FaceTiming John outside because he's stuck in the live stream because cousin Karen, she ain't getting out of the way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I don't have a
totally
cousin Karen, by the way. That's just
I'm definitely not manifesting this for you, but it would be funny.
I am just like, you know when you're like at a point with something where you're like, I don't care anymore. You know what? You want to live stream it outside? That's your prerogative. You figure out how to set it up. I don't give a fuck. If you want to live stream it outside for like 30 people I don't even know, sure. Whatever. I don't care.
You want to pay a billboard to be like, hey, come to Jen's wedding at this place at this time? Fuck it. First come, first serve.
You're feeding all these fucking people.
If you want to buy merch, you better get there early.
It's literally $75 a plate, so, you know, pay up, Buster.
I mean, I love you and your family, but some people are so ridiculous sometimes that it brings me joy in, like, a very, like, not involved kind of way. It will most likely not bring me joy in about a year, but for now, this is bringing me joy.
My whole process is at an arm's length. If that's your prerogative, I'm planning my wedding. There's a side wedding being planned. I'm not thinking about that.
Listen, if my parents could have made it happen, they would have done their best.
Literally.
Oh my god. But yeah, no, I'm just like, there's so much to unpack there. But no, what we should do though is we should spin our wheel of questions.
Yes, spin away.
So if you could haunt one place forever, where would it be? You only get one place.
Haunt.
Like, you have expired.
I'm just gonna say all of Italy because the food there is so delicious.
Ooh. I want that to be my answer too. Also, I think it'd be really funny being a ghost and trying to scare Italians. Something about that feels like it would be like it would bring me joy, I think.
Like, I'll just haunt, a really good pizza pasta place in Italy and just, like, have some fucking wine and literally vibe as a ghost. Like, that's all I want.
I know. I've been seeing these videos on social media lately of people like literally going to Italy, having like a like authentic Alfredo pasta by the fucking ocean and like drinking wine, and I'm like, why can't it be me? Why can't it be me?
Literally, why can't it fucking be me?
Right? One day. I'm gonna manifest it one day.
You work on that.
Right? Alright, let's spin for our next question. If you could be part animal, which animal would you be?
Currently I would like to be a bird because the cost of gas these days, I'll just fucking fly there.
I understand.
Like, we spent over, like, because we drove to Vancouver and then we drove to, like, Kelowna afterwards. We probably spent in, like, the, like, week that we went or whatever, like, over $1,000 on gas.
Yeah, I believe it. I know, I was talking to somebody the other day and they were saying that for them, with their vehicle, it cost $16. I don't know if they meant milliliter or liter, because I don't really understand how gas works. But I was like, that's a lot. Or like even just driving by and seeing like the signs on the gas stations and they just keep going higher. I'm like, haha.
I know. In Vancouver, they were literally like $2.30 a liter. And
my favorite's where filling my tank went from like $40 to like almost $70.
That's the same with mine. It went from like $50 to fill my tank to like $80.
Yep. And I was like, wow, it's not like I needed this extra money to, I don't know, buy milk because the cost of groceries is also going up. Not that I would be buying milk because I don't really drink milk. Probably cheese. I would be eating a lot of cheese, but...
You would be eating cheese if the cheese money wasn't going into your gas tank.
That's what I'm saying. The cheese money is going in my gas tank. We're suffering out here.
Truly. What kind of animal would you be, Em?
I don't know. See, you keep answering these questions where I'm like, damn, these are good answers. But I think...
prepared. I'm just coming up with shit on the spot.
It almost feels like you've researched this. I'm gonna have to see if I accidentally collaborated my document with you. I probably haven't.
Season 4, we're just off to like a witty start,
Right? Let me see. So originally I was thinking part cat just so that I could like communicate with my own. And I feel like being sneakier would probably be beneficial in my life because I'm pretty clumsy. So that was my original thought. But now I'm almost on Team Bird because I also wouldn't mind the idea of just being able to fly places because, like, cost of gas for sure. The cheese money. And then also just, like, the convenience of, like, not having to drive, like, at all. Just be able to be like, bye, bitch, whoosh, and just take off. Like, that's like pretty tempting.
If I didn't have to pay for, like, any vehicle expenses... Do you know how fucking rich I would be?
Like, no, like, you wouldn't have to change your oil. You wouldn't have to get maintenance done. Like, winter tires, forget about it. If I was built like an albatross, I wouldn't have to worry about the weather or anything.
Exactly. I would be living my best life.
Right? The summertime would just be more exciting. Like, fan-freaking-tastic.
Exactly.
I think I'm on Team Bird now. You got me. All right, let's spin for our next question. Do you like mazes?
Actually, not overly. Like, okay, here's the thing. I always want to go to the corn maze. I feel like I'm always the one who fucking suggests it. Because I want to go for, like, the fall mood. I want to feel like a fall girl. But then I get there and I'm like, I don't want to do the corn maze. Like, you and my partner John like are like, let's do the maze, Jen. And I'm like, I could literally care less about the maze. Like, I'm here for the photos and the vibes only.
That's hysterical. Also, that's pretty much exactly what I thought your answer was going to be, because I actually really like the maze. There's something about, like, being, like, having to, like, brain your way out of something that, like, really appeals to me. I like puzzles.
I understand. I feel like I like, that's like kind of why I like escape rooms, because I feel like it is just like a big puzzle room.
Yeah.
You know? But I don't know, there's something about a maze where I'm just like, I have no ambition. I'm just gonna walk straight through there's already a pre-made path where someone else mowed through the corn. Like, I'm just gonna go there, because that person knew what they were doing, clearly.
See, I like corn mazes, though, I think, over the idea of, say, like, a cement maze, because at least, like, you can just, like, hightail it out of there if, like, you need the bathroom or something.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if it was, like, a, like, proper built maze, I might just be stuck in there forever. Like, I don't know.
Emily never returned.
Goodbye.
They put the cheese at the end and everything, and she just never came back.
It was too late. It was too late for her. We ran out of cheese money, and we couldn't get the right kind, and now she's in there forever. But yeah. All right, we're getting close. One more question. Okay, if you could meet a Greek deity, who would it be? So that would be like a Greek god or goddess. Because we talked about like Greek stuff enough now where I feel like you kind of get the vibe for like some of the like bigger characters.
I do not want to meet Zeus. I know that for sure.
Me either. That's a good answer. You're like, right now, anybody but Zeus.
Literally. Maybe Aphrodite? I don't know. Girl has snakes for hair. That's kind of cool, actually.
What? Aphrodite does not have snakes for hair.
Oh, Medusa! I'm thinking Medusa!
No, Aphrodite is the goddess of love, who's like very much like about appearances. And then Medusa is not technically a god or a goddess. She is a demigorgon, which is an apostle basically who was cursed, and is now a lady with snakes in her hair. But she is pretty cool.
She is cool. I'm hoping she can teach me how to turn people to stone with my eyes. That way if someone mentions the idea of live streaming my wedding, I can just pull down my sunglasses and take care of that problem real quick.
Oh, you think you're gonna put my wedding on Facebook, eh? Okay, literally. I love that. I freaking hope so. That'd be great. With what I know, I would pick Dionysus to be the deity that I would meet. He's the god of wine.
Ooh, can you share with me?
Yeah. He's like he's like the god of wine and the god of like entertainment. So like a lot of like music and dancing and like drinking and like general merriment. So like I would like to meet him. I think going to one of his parties, you know,
it'll be a good time.
Party of a lifetime, and the Lord knows I need one.
Especially after the last 3 years that we've had.
Friggin' hell yeah to that one. And yeah, that's my answer. So, I know you won't be able to guess what my story is today, but I am going to ask you anyways. Can you guess what my story for you is today?
It's something to do with a Greek what's or another, who turns someone into like half man, half mouse, makes them go through a maze to get something or to achieve something, and then they probably end up murdering them because there's some element of like crime, I'm hoping, on the wheel of crime.
Hey, I always have a crime story for the Wheel of Crime podcast.
It's like sometimes questionable, but it's like kind of there.
It's always there to some degree. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, okay? It's not a yes or no.
I mean, one time you said someone was speeding on a flying canoe, and I'm not sure
That
if
is a
counts.
crime. That is a crime.
You're stretching a little or a lot.
You ask the police if speeding is a crime, they will be on my side.
Okay, you got me. Anyways, what's your story for this week, Em?
Okay. Well, my story, I will start with the description for you. So, in Greek mythology, the Minotaur, in Latin known as Minotaurus, is a mythical creature portrayed during classical antiquity with the head and the tail of a bull and the body of a man, or, as described by Roman poet Ovid, as being part man and part bull. He dwelt at the center of the labyrinth, which was an elaborate maze-like construction, which was designed by the architect Daedalus and his son Icarus, on the command of King Minos of Crete.
Ooh, I feel like I was kind of close-ish.
You were like 0.5 of the way there. You got down like the basics of it, but like not quite the whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, are you ready to learn today about the Minotaur?
I am. Take her away, Em.
So, in Greek mythology, the Minotaur was a monster with the body of a man and the head and tail of a bull. The Minotaur was the offspring of the Cretan queen Pasiphae and a majestic bull. Due to the Minotaur's monstrous form, King Minos ordered the craftsman Daedalus and his son Icarus to build a huge maze known as the Labyrinth to house the beast. The Minotaur remained in the labyrinth, receiving annual offerings of youths and maidens to eat. He was eventually killed by the Athenian hero Theseus. So are there kind of like some like familiar sounding names?
There are. I'm feeling like you're refreshing my memory of the history of lessons of Greek mythology that you have given to me.
Well, I'm glad to hear. I was going to ask too, like, I forgot this earlier, but have you ever seen or read Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief?
I haven't read the books, but I did see I think there was only 2 movies that came out, 1 or 2.
Yeah. There was 2 movies, and I believe they're remaking the series here soon. But if you had seen or read any of these books, like a lot of this stuff will also be kind of like ringing familiar for that. As well as like some like character names. So like Icarus is like a big story, as well as like a couple other ones. But I'll get to it. And the word Minotaur is a compound word consisting of the ancient Greek name Minos and the noun bull. So literally the word Minotaur comes to mean the bull of Minos. And while the Minotaur's birth name was Asterion in ancient Greek, which means the starry one, it also is suggesting an association to the bull constellation Taurus, which like, horoscopes and astrology and stuff. So, in the Greek myth, Minos is one of 3 sons from the union of Europa and Zeus, our favorite.
Don't love Zeus.
When Zeus took the form of a bull. Also our favorite. So, basically
literally
with that...
Zeus, from everything you told me, Zeus is the worst. Like, if you have a run-in with Zeus, it's like the equivalent of like, trying to date someone who describes himself as like an alpha male. And that's something no one wants.
And he listens to the Joe Rogan podcast and does all these other things.
I'm getting what the kids call the ick.
It literally. And he's definitely like, what's the word I'm searching for? You're on the right path, though. And like, my thing is like, is pretty much with every story I've ever shared about Zeus, or like most ones where you read about Zeus, this man is off the chizang. He's like, I'm going to turn into an animal and I'm going to assault women. And here we are. Like, that's just, like, that is his only idea. And he's married. He has a wife who, I don't even know if he has any children with her, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, I think he just spends all of his time, like, being an asshole. And, like, turning into animals.
Pretty much it. And he's literally the worst. The worst.
Literally?
He just sucks.
the worst.
Zeus is 2 thumbs down from me. If I had more thumbs, they'd all be down.
My toe thumbs. My toe thumbs are also pointing down for this one.
Yeah. For Zeus, my toe thumbs are down.
That's 4 thumbs down. Thank you very much. But yes, so basically Zeus turned himself into a bull, got with a woman, and then had 3 children. Yes. So, Europa, though, so the poor woman in this situation, her husband was the king of Crete, Asterion, who looked over the boys as if they were his own. But when Asterion died, it was unclear which of the 3 sons should ascend to power. The 3 sons were Minos, Sarpedon, and Rhadamanthus. It was Minos, whose name in Cretan actually means king, who was fated to be the king of Crete, even though Minos' ascension to power was a difficult journey, because he first had to see off his siblings' rivals. Minos, however, had one advantage that his brothers did not. He claimed that he had the support and the authority from the gods to rule, and he boasted that he could prove it by praying to whoever he wanted, or by praying for whatever he wanted, and the gods would make it so. Thus, one day while sacrificing to Poseidon, he prayed that a bull would appear from the depths of the sea. Minos vowed to heaven that he would sacrifice the bull to Poseidon once it appeared. Poseidon then produced a magnificent bull from the sea. Thus, Minos' claim for power was validated, and nobody dared to defy the favor of the gods, let alone the mighty Poseidon, who ruled over all the seas. Because, basically, just to kind of like give you a point of reference, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades are the big 3. So Zeus rules over the heavens and is, in general, like the big dude for all of the gods. But then Poseidon rules over the seas, and Hades rules over the underworld.
Right. So
one of the big 3
all the
was
power
like,
went straight to Zeus's head.
Yes. And so one of the big 3 was like, here, dude, is a bull. You must be with the king now. And everybody was like, oh, hell yeah, let's go for it, because we do not want to tell Poseidon to fuck off, because that would be bad. So that's basically how that happened. And, let's see. As a result of winning the throne, though, Minos banished his brothers from Crete, and the 3 brothers would be reunited in the afterlife, for after they died, they were made judges of the underworld. So at least, like, they got things to do later on. But, it was their task to judge the dead in order to assign where their placement would be in the underworld based upon their merits in life. So, kind of going back to, like, the real life portion of the story, though. So, however, King Minos did not fulfill his vow to Poseidon. He kept the majestic Cretan bull for himself and sacrificed a different one to the god. So, angered by King Minos' disrespect, Poseidon plotted to punish him for his arrogance and hubris. In accordance with some versions of the myth, it is Poseidon who punishes Minos by instilling a passion within the king's wife, Pasiphae, for the bull which came from the sea. However, according to the Roman author Hygnius, it is Venus, or Aphrodite. So Aphrodite is the Greek version, Venus is the same lady, but in Roman.
Right.
Who curses Pasiphae because the queen had not shown proper piety to the goddess for some time. The goddess punished her by sending a salacious passion for the majestic bull from the sea, and another version tells how Poseidon, angered by Minos, went to Aphrodite for her help in the matter, and cursed Pasiphae as a favor to Poseidon. Regardless, in this story, Minos' wife boned the bull from the ocean. That is what that means.
I don't love that for her.
Me either. I don't imagine she was for it, so I'm gonna assume there was some kind of, like, godly intervention at some point. But it happened, I guess. And so Queen Pasiphae, plagued by her divinely inflicted desires, sought the help, obviously, sought help, I would hope, of Daedalus, and
she gets all the help she can get.
I don't even know, man. Like, I really pray to God and everything and everyone, the universe, that never plagues somebody that I know, because if they came to me for help and they were like, hey, I just really want to bone this bull, I'd be like, ew. I can't help you. I don't know what you need, but I can't help you.
Like, you need help. You got problems.
Mental, physical, emotional help, all of it. Everything on the chart. Sending you away.
On so many levels.
So many. So many levels. So she calls up Daedalus and Icarus, and she's like, hey guys, I need help. And for Pasiphae, Daedalus constructed a wooden cow coated with real cowhide and placed it on wheels. Daedalus then put Queen Pasiphae inside of the structure and wheeled her into the meadow that her beloved bull was grazing in. And it was there that she met and then laid with the bull, since the bull thought the wooden cow was a real cow, and it is from this union that the Minotaur was born.
That's a very unfortunate origin story.
So much to unpack. So much therapy.
For everyone involved.
I'm gonna need therapy after
First
this.
on the list is Zeus. For unrelated reasons, but I just think he needs help.
Second on the list, the bull. Also for unrelated reasons, I also think it needs a therapist.
Everyone in this story, therapy for years. It's on their
literally the
radar.
rest of time, every Sunday from now until forever. Just that's it. Oh
even when they think they don't need it anymore, just go for just a checkup, just to check in with yourself, because this whole situation is just not okay.
See if the PSD is or PTSD is still there.
Yeah.
Oh god. Ugh. But after this horrific thing happened, the queen then named the beast, so the thing she gave birth to, Asterion, which was after King Minos' stepfather, which the Cretan people knew to be the Minotaur's true name. But upon seeing the infant, King Minos discovered his wife's bestial affair, and as punishment, Minos enslaved Daedalus and Icarus for their parts in the affair, but he left Pasiphae untouched. Pasiphae cared for Asterion until he was able to nourish, was able to nourish Asterion until he was a bull calf. However, as he grew, he became ferocious and monstrous, and she was unable to feed or care for him any longer. Asterion was unable to find a suitable source of food, since he was neither man nor beast, and so he started to eat people, naturally. And in order to hide his wife's disgraceful affair, and on the advice of an oracle, King Minos commanded Daedalus and Icarus to build a grand labyrinth to house his wife's son, Asterion, or Minotaurus, because that's the Minotaur's name, but then people would just call the Minotaur the Minotaur.
Right.
So, while the construction of the labyrinth was underway, King Minos discovered that his only human son, Androgeos, that he had with Pasiphae, had been killed, and some sources say that he was killed by the Athenians out of jealousy for his skill in the Panathenaic Games. And a different version of the myth claims that the king of Athens, Aegeus, was angered by Androgeos' his victories and sent him to slay the unconquerable Marathonian bull. In turn, he was killed by the bull and indirectly by the actions of the Athenians. Lots of bulls in this story. Lots of bulls. But,
too many bulls. There's like
many.
5
More
too many
than what
bulls,
I
and
would
I
like.
think there's only 2 bulls in this story.
There was the bull that Zeus turned himself into a bull and then slept with a lady. And then Poseidon made a bull super hot to somebody's wife, then she gave birth to a bull. And now the non-Minotaur sibling was killed by a bull.
So there's four bulls, and I think there's 5 too many.
And there's definitely 5 too many. Let me see. Regardless of how, though, Androgeus was killed, and King Minos blamed the Athenians for the death of his only human son, and for the destruction of his family line. So he sailed against the Athenians and harassed them until they agreed to pay the price for his son's death. And so, King Minos demanded that Athens pay a tribute to Crete of 7 maidens and 7 youths every 9 years. There's some contradiction in sources about how often the tributes were made, but it was basically somewhere between 9 years to once a year. And these tributes would then be placed in the labyrinth for the Minotaur to eat. In various sources, the tributes of or sacrificial victims were chosen by lot. So by lot is basically like taking chance or like pulling straws. From only the most beautiful men and virginal girls, because of course.
Blech.
The Athenians consulted the oracle of Delphi, who instructed the city of Athens to give Minos whatever he demanded. However, according to Catullus, the murder of Androgeos sparked a cruel plague on Athens, and it is only when King Aegeus learned that by sending tributes to Crete and obeying Minos' command that Athens would be saved, he agreed. Reluctantly, the Athenians submitted to Minos' terms, and King Minos returned to Crete. So that's basically how the Minotaur got there. He's in the maze. This is how he gets fed. Okay. Now we're on to the heroic part of the story. Okay.
Okay.
Theseus, son of King Aegeus, was said to have volunteered for the third tribute of youths. He boasted to his father and to all of Athens that he would slay the Minotaur. He promised that on the journey home he would raise his white sails as if he was victorious, or have the crew fly back sails if he failed and was killed. Upon reaching Crete, the daughters of King Minos, Ariadne and Phaedra, fell deeply in love with him, and unable to cope with Theseus being eaten by their half-brother the Minotaur, Ariadne went to Daedalus for help. She begged the craftsman to tell her how one could escape from the labyrinth. Once he had told her, she raced to tell Theseus before he entered the labyrinth. Following Daedalus's instructions, she handed Theseus a ball of thread to help him find his way out of the labyrinth. Upon entering the labyrinth, Theseus tied one end of the string to the door and then continued into the maze. He found the Minotaur in the furthest corner of the labyrinth and killed him with jabs of his fist, which could happen. Or in other accounts, he sneaks in the sword of Aegeus and slays the Minotaur with it, which is more what I think would happen. But unlike the labyrinth's previous victims, Theseus is able to find his way out because of Ariadne's gift, and Theseus simply follows the thread back through the maze to find his way out of the doors. He finds and leads the other Athenians out of the maze and quickly sails off to Athens with Ariadne and Phaedra. So on the journey home, Theseus abandons Ariadne on the island of Naxos and continues to sail to Athens with his intended wife, Phaedra. On Naxos, Ariadne reflects on her actions and naivety of assisting with her brother's murder, the Minotaur, for Theseus, who she thought would marry her instead. But instead of marrying Theseus, Ariadne is discovered on Naxos by the god Dionysos, who she ends up marrying. In some versions of this myth, Dionysus, or Sos, appears to Theseus ordering him to abandon Ariadne because he intends to wed her. So Theseus is overjoyed to be almost home with his new wife Phaedra, but absentmindedly forgets to change the color of his sails from black to white. His father, King Aegeus, upon seeing the black sails from afar, is overcome with grief and kills himself by jumping off a cliff into the sea. It is this act which secures Theseus' place as the new Athenian king and explains the origin name of the Aegean Sea, which is a sea by Greece. So
Yes.
that is the story of the Minotaur, but I will just quickly give you a little side piece about art in relation to the Minotaur. So the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur is seen in a wide array of pottery, particularly from antiquity. So most depictions show Theseus in battle with the Minotaur, who is usually in a submissive, if not defeated, role. It was a popular subject matter for art as the myth itself embodies the basic struggle between the nature and unnatural, or the civilized versus the uncivilized, which is a common theme in many Greek artistic representations. There are also several coins from Crete, which depict a bullhead and the labyrinth construction on the reverse side. This suggests that there may in fact be some fact to this myth of the labyrinth and the Minotaur, most likely springing from a combination of the bull cult on Crete and the architectural complexity of their palaces.
That's super interesting. How,
Right?
just in the way that it influenced pottery.
Right? Well, it influenced also the mythos of the city of Crete and just lots of things. So, and what I thought was interesting is that, for example, King Minos and I believe his father are actual historical figures. I would have to double check that fact, But like big parts of the myth were actually also based in history, which I also thought was super interesting.
That is interesting. I feel like it just goes to show how differently people saw the world back then, and how little they knew about certain things, where they would be like, the fact that I got this bull and now I'm having bad luck, so I must be cursed.
Yes, so that's one part of it, and also, so a lot of people, what they do when they read these types of myths is they try to derive, like, what we know today and try to apply it to how things would have been told story-wise from back then. And a lot of people actually theorize that the Minotaur was probably not part bull, obviously, but it's more likely that it might have been somebody with a disability. And having been perceived as being like animalistic, or maybe like for whatever reason they had a bull-like feature. So some people say, like, for example, like maybe they had like cleft palate along with a couple of other things that might make them a little bit more bull-like. That might be why people thought that the mom had slept with a literal bull, and that's how they came into existence. And maybe all of the anger and stuff is from other reasons, right? Like, there's just so many things where, like, now if you apply certain knowledge, you're like, oh, like, this seems way more likely now. But how it's evolved, though, over time is very interesting.
Yeah, that's super sad if that is what it was, is that it was just a child with a disability. The fact that they're like, we're gonna lock you away and feed you human sacrifices.
Literally. And like that's the thing too, is that because we will literally never know, it just evolves into myth where like people are like, as far as we know, maybe things were different back then. Well, maybe they just found a bull that kind of was disfigured and looked like a person, and then figured that it was, and then put it in the maze. Like, we don't know. Maybe there was something else, right? Who's to say?
Maybe the mom did fuck a bull. We'll never know.
For all we know, maybe. But maybe this is just like a history thing where like back then they were like, yeah, bulls are sexy. I don't know what to tell you.
Bulls are sexy.
Zeus was like, bulls are sexy.
Oh my god.
He had t-shirts made.
This is too much for the first episode back.
Oh, that's so funny. I like to imagine that Zeus just had like random ass t-shirts made about different animals, and he's like, USA, like, just like preaching his thoughts. Of course nobody would agree with him, I would hope.
See, that's why he's number one on the therapy list.
Definitely. For many reasons. For many, many reasons. But yeah.
There could be 2 pages worth of reasons. And
there were going to be definitely more than 2 pages of reasons. I just read like 4 pages of reasons. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that is basically the end of my story, dude. Okay.
So that's the end of today's episode.
And my mental state is gone. If you like today's episode, you can always leave us a review on wherever you listen to podcasts, because that's a thing. And besides that, you can always visit our website, which is www.wheelofcrime.com if you want to check us out there. Otherwise, we do have social media, which is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Wheel of Crime. We also have a Patreon if you would like to donate to the show, which is at Wheel of Crime on Patreon. And beside that, we also have a email, which is wheelofcrime@gmail.com if you want to email in your own story suggestion, or maybe you want to tell us that you think the cover art is cool and you like our vibes. That would be really rad too. And I think that's basically it.
Yes, that is it. That is all. We will see you next week for another new episode. Bye!